This chapter directly continues from the previous chapter. Please ensure you follow the web series chronologically. All the links will be provided in the description below. Thank you. The House of Kuru, Part 1, Chapter 21. The Birth of Karna. Curiosity is a wonderful emotion. It is embedded into all beings. It is the precursor to knowledge. Curiosity, however, can also spark tremendous desire for slaking it until its satisfaction is met. Kunti, being a 16-year-old maiden, and having obtained a spell which can command gods to appear before her, was burning with such curiosity. Will it work? What will the baby look like? Why would the great sage have given this to me? She kept thinking. The mantra kept running in her head like a song she liked. It was driving her insane. She desperately wanted to chant the incantation. No, she said to herself. She will keep this from taking over her thoughts. She averted her thinking to other things like palace life or the welfare of the people. But soon, within a few blinks of an eye, the mantra came back to haunt her. Even if I try it, which god will I command? Will it be Varuna, the god of water? Agni, the god of fire? Such thoughts haunted her mind, which ceaselessly entertained such desires. No, the sage Durvasa warned me. This is a powerful mantra, she said to herself. Only if it works, said a nasty little voice inside her head. What if it doesn't even work? She asked herself. She then grew furious at her lack of faith and slapped herself and went to sleep. Or at least, she tried to. She tossed and turned throughout the night, unable to sleep. This was the third night in a row the curiosity of the mantra kept her awake. Enough, she said to herself. She had spent the night pacing up and down her bedchambers. The curiosity of the mantra had eaten her sleep. I can't bear this any longer. I must see the power of this incantation, she said out loud. Just as she spoke, the crack of dawn was visible from the balcony of her bedchamber. She saw the beautiful crimson-red sky splattered with stars as the clouds separated from the sun. At that moment, she knew she wanted to see the sun god Savitr. Savitr is the mightiest god on earth, she said to herself. When he arrives, the entire world awakens. He is also so merciful. He gives light to the poorest beggar and the richest king equally. Plants grow through his might. The world feels happy under his warmth. I must see the sun god Savitr, the sun himself. I will invoke the mantra given to me by the sage Durvasa to call on Savitr, the sun god, she told herself. She then began muttering the incantation. It felt like a wonderful release of pent-up desire. As she spoke the incantation, the balcony began filling with a golden hue. She didn't stop chanting the incantation though. The golden hue began to get thicker and thicker. The smell of jasmine and sunflowers wafted through the air. Sweat trickled down Kunti's temples, and the balcony got progressively warmer. Soon all the candles in the bedchambers melted, but Kunti did not stop muttering the spell given to her by the sage. The entire bedchamber was now filled with a dazzling bright golden light, and Kunti could not see anything in the vicinity but the golden light. Yet she kept chanting the incantation with tremendous concentration on the sun god Savitr. The clouds in the sky darkened and the golden light began to materialize into a form. Kunti's sari was drenched in sweat as Savitr, the sun god, brought with him tremendous heat. She felt the entire earth rumble beneath her. Small trickles of sweat clouded her forehead, and the golden hue turned into a bright orange. Then the light began to center into one focal point, and yet Kunti did not waver from chanting the sacred incantation, and lo and behold, a massive 9-foot-tall giant stood before her in the balcony. Kunti was exhausted. As soon as she saw the sun god, she nearly fainted from tiredness. She mustered all the strength in her body and lifted her head to see a spectacular figure. The gigantic deity was standing before her in awesome splendor. He had brilliant, sparkling eyes, wavy golden hair, beautifully chiseled jaws, deep golden eyes, perfectly aligned teeth which shone like the moon itself. His body was sculpted perfectly in every way. He had broad shoulders the size of rock melons for deltoids. His hands, chest, and abdomen were ripped with muscles, golden in color, and he was draped in a tawny, brownish orange silken cloth covering his legs. Kunti was aghast. She invoked one of the most powerful deities in the holy Veda. He was standing right before her wearing a beautiful smile. She had no idea what to do. She was terrified. What if he burns her to death for wasting his time? What if he destroys the entire city in wrath? How could she have been so silly? Why did she just not have faith in the wise Durvasa? Trillions of thoughts were swirling in her head, and she began to swoon just as Savitr, the sun god, spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. Kunti, you have commanded me to appear before you to bestow a son. No, I was a foolish girl. I have no desire for progeny. I'm still a virgin, she cried. Please, dear God of the skies, please forgive this silly girl, and please go back to the heavens. Tears now flowed all over her face. The sun god spoke to her softly. Alas, my sweet Kunti, you do not know the potency of the incantation you just uttered, said the sun god. The spell you chanted is a powerful binding agent. I am bound by the mantra you chanted. I cannot leave until I bestow upon you a son. And if I do not leave, time itself will come to a standstill. The world will not go on, and I will be stuck here forever, said Savitr, the sun god. I am a virgin. I know nothing of motherhood, stammered Kunti through the tears in her eyes. When Savitr raised his right palm and said, Kunti, you will continue to be a virgin upon the birth of your son. The son will be born instantly, and you will feel no pain. Such is my boon to you, dear Kunti. But you must let me gift you a son, dear Kunti, for if you do not, I cannot move from this balcony outside your bedchamber. Time will be affected all over the planet, and evil demonic spirits will run amok without my energy to stop them. So please, dear Kunti, give me consent to bless you with a child, implored Savitr. Guru Vaishampayana, my great-great-grandmother brought Savitr, the sun god, to her balcony, bellowed Janamejaya. Yes, my king, it is true. The impatient Kunti unwittingly bound the great Savitr himself, said Vaishampayana. You see, my lord, mantras are very powerful and must be used with utmost caution. One must not chant mantras for slaking one's curiosity or testing the efficacy of sages. A lesson Kunti, your ancestor, learned the hard way, said Vaishampayana. Please continue, O mighty one. Please tell me what happens next, demanded Janamejaya. Kunti stood there trembling, with her stomach turned to stone. She did not know what to do. She could not keep the powerful sun god waiting, yet at the same time she was famed across the land for her virtue and chastity. So how will she explain a baby? Fear not, dear Kunti. I will protect the child. I will cater to your fears. But please, let me go back to the heavens. Every minute which passes with me bound here causes a great pain to many creatures, both supernatural and natural, insisted Savitr. Slowly, Kunti nodded meekly. The second she nodded, a great wave of bright white and yellow light flashed from Savitr's right palm and met in the middle of Kunti's two eyebrows. She felt an enormous amount of energy and heat surging through her veins. A sharp white-hot heat burned from the middle of her eyebrows, and it made its way to her womb. Her stomach then started swelling, yet Kunti experienced no pain at all. She felt a creature growing in her womb. The child began kicking relentlessly, all within minutes of Savitr raising his right palm. Savitr was still blessing Kunti with his right palm, and Kunti felt as though Savitr himself was molding the baby inside her. She felt the baby, now the size of a mango, doing somersaults inside her stomach. All the while Savitr was blessing her, and the bright white light was still surging through his right palm to the middle of Kunti's forehead, just in between her two eyebrows. The baby was now the size of a watermelon, and Kunti could no longer stand. She sat down, and before she knew it, a healthy, gorgeously beautiful baby boy was born to her. He was born with a golden vest with the words Karna written in bright orange and was sporting droplet earrings on his ears. When he smiled, Kunti's eyes filled with tears. Savitr lowered his right palm. He smiled, nodding with acceptance, as though he was writing the child's fate. "O Kunti, this is my son Karna, the son of Savitr the sun god," said Savitr. "He will be a famed hero across the land. He will be a peerless archer and an excellent bowman. Great men will bow before him, and he will go on to do great deeds. He will have a heart of gold, and will be known for his magnanimous generosity. Why, he will contain with him a portion of my own celestial energy. This is my boon to him as a father to son," bellowed Savitr, the sun god. Having bestowed a volley of boons, he vanished back to the heavens. Kunti was crestfallen. She loved this baby of unimaginable beauty. Yet, if she brought a baby to the palace, the wrong kind of questions would be asked. So she did the next best thing. She wrapped the baby with all her jewels and deep scarlet red robes, and as the baby slept, she put it in a wicker basket and sent it adrift in the Ganges river, weeping rivers of tears herself. The baby's wicker basket floated through the river and finally landed in a charioteer's house named Adhirata. Adhirata was performing his morning rituals of worshipping the sun. Adhirata was stunned when he saw and opened the wicker basket. He saw a gorgeous baby of magnificent beauty. It kicked and played with itself while Adhirata shed a tear. Adhirata was childless for nearly a decade, and he was worshipping the sun god for progeny. Now this felt like a divine sign. He grabbed the wicker basket and ran home to his wife, screaming, "Radha, Radha, look at this! You will never believe this!" And he recited the entire event to Radha, who now looked at the baby with motherly love. She was not sure whether she should keep the child, even though she desperately wanted to. What if someone has lost this beautiful child?
"He looks to be one of royal birth, with jewels encrusted all over him," asked Radha. The couple went with the wicker basket, and Radha was holding the baby Karna in her arms as they waited. They waited by the river for 3 days and no one came. "We will raise this child as our own," said Radha, and Adhiratha nodded in agreement. And so the mighty hero Karna, born of the sun god, was raised by a charioteer named Adhiratha and his wife Radha.
I hope you liked today's episode of The House of Kuru. If you have not already, please subscribe to this channel and like this video so that you will be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Thank you.